Okay, so remember that the first part of every build project is to do a debugging activity so that we've identified certain areas where we think that the kids would get stuck with certain concepts, and that's where we've created the debugging activities. So in today's lesson, you would start by just doing a check to make sure that everyone has finished their planning pages and they're ready to build. If they need a little bit more time on their planning pages, definitely give it to them, because to start building with an incomplete planning page makes things a lot more difficult, and it takes a lot longer for the build process. Okay, so today's debugging, we've got two problems in the About Me project. The first one is, if you click on the muffin 2 or 3 times, it gets too big, but I don't want it to get bigger and bigger. So that is what I have over here, change size by 300. What can I do to fix that?
Can we add a change at the end, change size by -300?
Exactly. Perfect. Yes. Perfect. Right. So that if I click it one time, it gets big, and then it will flip right back and get smaller.
What about the change to back to 100% or something?
Or change, exactly. So both of those will work. Exactly. Yep. So set size, you can see that in the script right above in the green flag script. So in the green flag script, the muffin is always going to change back to its original size using the set size to 100%. But you can also add it to the when sprite clicked, where you change the size, and then the last step in the script would be to change it back to its original size, set size to 100%. Both blocks work. And they actually look exactly the same. It works exactly the same either way. So you can do either one. Perfect.
Good.
And then problem 2, the muffin stays big. How do I make it small again? I think we've actually answered that question, is to use the set size to 100%.
Yep. That one block answers both questions.
Yes. And remember to remind your students that in their green flag script, if they have any sprite where they're changing the size or changing the color or changing the location, they always need to add blocks to the green flag script to put it back, to reset it to its original position, original color, original costume, and original size. So if they're doing anything with a when sprite click to increase or decrease the size of something, always remind them to add that set size to 100% to the when green flag clicked script, so that everything goes back to the beginning.
Work through that. So these are some answers that we would give. So
right. So this is another option, is you can do set size to 300% instead of change. I think that our solution was better. I definitely, because I think that, for the kids, they can see that if it increases by 300 and then you do set size or change size by -300, it's a good way. Also, it's that math integration. You can talk about the number line and how to, if you go 300 to the right on the number line and then you go 300 to the left, you come back to 0 or to the starting point. And the next slide, and it's exactly what we said for solution 2, is to use the set size to 100% to get it back to its original size. So let's look at the building guide for the About Me project. So the first thing you will do is you will add your chosen backdrop and 3 sprites from the Scratch library to your project. So you'll have chosen your backdrop and your 3 sprites. You're going to add that. So again, this is the About Me project. This is the create. So this is where they're going to log in. Yep. So click create, and then you don't have to do the roar. You just have to do the hiss. So name it something that makes sense, that describes the project. Click share, and then it'll pop you out and add to Studio. Exactly. Remind your students. Do we have one? Yep, perfect. Remind your students that they always need to put in instructions. They should put in a purpose. And then again, the title should be something descriptive about the project. So once they do that, they can go back to the see inside and click on the backdrop button down in the bottom right-hand corner to add their backdrop. And Dana, you can choose any backdrop that you want.
Blue sky.
And then click on the sprites to add the sprites. Remind them to delete the scratch cat because they don't need the scratch cat. So they'll add their 3 sprites. I love the moving sprites, they're so fun. And then for each of the sprites, they're going to create 2 scripts. One green flag script, one green flag clicked, and one when this sprite clicked.
I'm going to show you the slides that she added, just to remind you how to get those slide decks. This is Unit 3 lesson, and we'll look at the slide deck here. So this is the same slide deck. So these are small, but hopefully they'll be big on your screen, and the students have access to these as well in their student workbook. So they can look in their workbook or online. That will.
And there are lots and lots of sprites. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So
you had the choice between when the sprite clicked or when key pressed, and that's where you're going to add all of the blocks for the actions and what your sprites are going to say. Okay. So remember, you've got the 3 columns, and again, the kids do not have to do just everything in one column. They can switch over and choose things from different columns, but the main column is the first column, where they need to have the backdrop and 3 sprites, 2 scripts for each sprite, 2 different event blocks, a sprite that says or thinks something about them, and then 2 actions. So that's the basic. So, they can kind of pick and choose from each of the columns, but always encourage them to try to take some of the challenges and amp up their project a little bit. And then before you set them off on the build project, if you want to go to the next slide, you can always do a turn and talk, just to have the kids talk a little bit about what things they think they're going to do, what columns or what items within the checklist they'd like to try for, and to share some ideas. Share some ideas from their planning. All right, so now we are ready to build.